Hi, thank you for joining me. It's Catherine here from London Hiker. I'm just going to try and do a quick video, if I can do it without my toddler banging on the door and screaming for me to get out of the bedroom, because he's a 2-year-old and you know what they're like. So I'm going to try and do this quick video of 3 tips for the West Highland Way. So I recently asked you, lovely people, which trails you really want to do. It's always been on your bucket list, what trails you've been dreaming about doing for a long time, and the West Highland Way was one of the top ones that you mentioned. So I'm going to give you my quick top 3 tips for doing the West Highland Way if you're going to do it this year. So this picture is from one of the most spectacular locations on the West Highland Way, which is at the head of Glencoe, and the mountain is Buccleuch Moor, and my partner Andrew there is by the river, and we actually just popped off the West Highland Way to visit a infamous climbers bothy on the side of the river. So most of the tracks on the West Highland Way are really clear and wide, and not all this grassy stuff at all. So it's a great one for beginners because it's easy walking. The tracks are really clear and wide, and there's lots of people around. So if you're worried about getting lost, you can just ask someone else. That's great. So my first tip is to prepare for midges. So if you've never been walking in Scotland before, and if you don't know, midges are really small little black flies that cluster around your head in a big cloud, and they do nibble you. So if you're planning to walk, just check what time of year is best for midges, because they can be really irritating, and it's just a feature of walking in Scotland. But at certain times of year, in the summer, they're more prevalent, and towards autumn and perhaps in spring, they're less prevalent. So that's something to bear in mind. So if you are lucky, then you might get away with not being bitten by midges, because they just like some people and they don't like other people. So you might be lucky and get away with it, but they can be really irritating. So the thing that all the guidebooks recommend for you to have, you can take insect repellent spray that you can buy in, Boots and chemists and things, but they actually recommend this stuff called Avon Skin So Soft, by Avon, the beauty product company, and it comes in a spray, and it was actually developed as like a body moisturizer product, but it smells so disgusting that it keeps the midges off, and it creates like an oily film on your skin, and the midges just allegedly hate it. So that is the product that everyone recommends, and they actually sell it in the pubs on the West Highland Way. So even if you forget, you can probably get some, because it's just such a famous remedy to keep these midges off. But it is useful to have some before you go. Google that. You can order it online as well, and I would definitely take some of that in your rucksack. It'll make the whole experience a little bit nicer for you. My second tip is to really plan ahead, especially on this walk, because it is one of the most popular walks, one of the most popular long distance trails in Britain, which shouldn't put you off at all, because it's beautiful, it's fantastic, and it's really brilliant for beginners, because it takes you through spectacular countryside, absolutely amazing countryside, but it's still relatively easy, apart from one particularly long day, but generally the distances are achievable. And yeah, there are other people walking on the trail, but it's not a problem. It's not like walking down Oxford Street in London or something. It's fine. But the only thing is that you do need to plan ahead. So if you're going to do that this year, I would really get started on thinking about organising and booking it as soon as you can, because in some of the places where you'll be staying, the accommodation is limited, and because it's so popular, it gets booked out really quickly. So you can get around this if you find that one of the areas where you want to stay, it's all booked out. You can just go somewhere else. It is possible. You could maybe get a bus to somewhere else, or maybe even just call a taxi if the worst comes to the worst. We actually did this at King's House. King's House is one of the most limited accommodation areas on the West Highland Way, because it literally is just one pub, and obviously that gets booked up pretty quickly. So we actually could not get in, so we ended up waiting for a bus to take us to Glencoe Youth Hostel, So we did it that way, and then we got a bus again in the morning back to the King's House. So it is possible. So if you find that these places are booked out, don't be put off, just keep looking and keep researching. But it is best if you can organise it as quickly as you can. My third tip is to end with Ben Nevis. So this is actually a picture of Ben Nevis behind on a glorious day with no cloud on top. How fantastic is that? So this was taken just off the West Highland Way as we were just coming down on the last day into Fort William. So the West Highland Way does not go on Ben Nevis, but it ends at Fort William, and what you can do is you can add on an extra day at the end of your walk and climb Ben Nevis, which is ending on a spectacular high, literally. Which is, it's just such a wonderful feeling if you can do it. Now, when I did this, I was really skeptical and hesitant about whether we would be able to climb Ben Nevis after having just walked a week-long hike with our rucksacks and things. So I was very pessimistic, I suppose, about the prospect of climbing it. But to his credit, my partner was very optimistic, and we were like, come on, let's give it a go. So we did, and we managed it, and I'm so pleased that we did. And we actually managed to climb up there even with our full backpacks on, because we couldn't arrange anywhere to leave them while we climbed it, because we had to get the train back that night. So we managed it even with that, and it just goes to show how fit you feel at the end of this walk, because walking every day makes you really, really fit and healthy. So we were able to climb up with all of our full backpacks on, because we carried all our gear on the West Highland Way. And it's great, you can even just see the path on this picture, if I can get my pointer. This is the path that goes up here. Ben Nevis is achievable. It's not, as you can see, it's not pointy, it's not scrambly. It can be dangerous in bad conditions, but if you just follow the standard path and just keep going and keep going and keep going, you can make it. It is achievable. So do consider that. And I'm actually going to give a bonus tip, because I couldn't not mention the sleeper train. So it's supposed to be 3 tips, but I'm going to do 4. The sleeper train is the train that goes between London and Fort William. It also goes to other places in Scotland as well. But for the West Highland Way, you can go back home. If you live in London, you can go back home on the sleeper train, which is the most spectacular train journey. One of the most spectacular train journeys in Britain, probably the most. And this is a picture taken from the train as it winds its way along the lochs, and it goes over Rannoch Moor, it goes through the wilderness. You see herds of deer leaping outside your carriage. You can sit in the lounge car and have a whiskey and just relax as the train takes you through this spectacular scenery, and the sun goes down and you can fall asleep on the train knowing you've had an absolutely fantastic week's holiday, and you will be feeling so proud of yourself. So those are my 4 tips, and if you want some help or motivation for organising your trip, click the button below and I'll provide you with more information on what I am offering at the moment, and I would love to help you do it. So that is my tips for the West Highland Way. I'll see you next time for some more tips for another trail.